All right, we'll finish up our media availability here for Sunday's race. We are now joined by Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 Interstate Batteries Toyota, who will start Sunday's race in the second position. Kyle, you have a couple of wins under your belt here at Dover, so talk a little bit about your thoughts on the race on Sunday and your qualifying run out there today.
Yeah, well, so far so good. Just good opportunity for us to start up front here and hopefully have a good solid race here at Dover, unlike the first time we were here. So just made a few mistakes in that one and ended up getting ourselves torn up. But look forward to this weekend's chance at being able to bring Interstate Batteries back to Victory Lane here in Dover and see that we have a good run with our 18 car.
We'll open it up for questions for Kyle. Raise your hand. We'll start up front with Kelly.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Kyle, performance aside, when you look at Joe Gibbs Racing, what do you think it says about the state of your company, what your team owners are able to do in terms of you guys will be adding another team, you all have sponsors, you're bringing in more sponsors, just things of the positive things like that. What do you think it says about Joe Gibbs, the company?
Well, I think it says a lot. I think it says, a lot about whose name's on the door. You know, Joe, he's obviously a huge influence to all of us in what we do and how we're able to succeed as people in life, and yet also as him being our boss. You know, I feel like he does a really good job, and he's obviously done things right and has been successful, and he's making that way for all of us with having a fourth team come on board next year with sponsors and most all the cars being fully sold and everything like that across the Cup Series as well as the Nationwide Series. So I mean, I can't say enough about what everyone does at Joe Gibbs Racing. I think where we're at right now this weekend, we're better than where we were here in the spring. I feel like TRD, the guys again have stepped it up. I feel like they've worked real hard and have done a nice job for us, and then also just being able to try to get our cars better. I think that's a little bit where we've been lacking. We've been all over the place this year with trying different things, but we haven't quite hit on something as good as it seems the Penske cars have. Those guys are really, really good each and every week handling wise. So we'd love to find a little nicks in the trade and see if we can't be winning a few more of these things.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jay, then come up front to Lee.
Jay Pennell, Fox Sports. On Sunday, Kurt's going to be making his 500th career Cup start. You just talk about what it means as his brother to do that, and not only see him do that, but to race against him in that race.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great accomplishment that, of course, that first of all, that we even got here. And, to have the success that we've had and the careers that we've had, the ups and the downs, and, for him to have his opportunity at his 500 start this weekend is pretty cool. So, I congratulate him and wish him all the best in that race. But yet at the same time, he's a competitor we got to beat. And we got to go out there and try to race our guts out to see if we can't be successful with our 18 car and, put ourselves in victory lane to move on to the next round.
Okay, we'll go Lee, then Jeff.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. How do you think that the changes that NASCAR has made for the rules for next year will affect your team? People have said it would play into your hands, the type of, the style of car that you like to drive.
I have no idea. I wasn't there at the Michigan test, so I wasn't privileged to race in that style of setting that they had there. I'm excited for it. I'm always excited for change. I always think that change is good. Little changes here or there. It just always kind of keeps the crew chiefs on their toes and, gives opportunities to the drivers to come into the new year with something different to drive rather than just the same old thing. And, seeing the same cars be successful. But with all that said, I still think you're going to see the same packages will apply of what we're currently running now. I mean, you're just going to have to work through, the lack of rear downforce and find the rear springs and shocks and everything that's going to work for that and make yourself feel comfortable at those high speeds getting into the corners. I think you're going to see a little bit more sliding around and whatnot, which, tends to levy itself, I guess, my style. But, you still got to not overheat those rear tires and keep them under you.
Okay, we'll take our next one from Jeff, then come back up to Reed.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Kyle, Denny was in here, and he was saying that this is going to be the biggest race of his career, most important race of his career, because he needs to advance that badly, and he's going to be driving really aggressively. You, I know, always drive as aggressively as you can, or you probably can't go any harder. But we also hear drivers say a lot that they're already going hard. Now Denny's saying, he's going to be going harder. Where's the line? And as a driver, how do you tell where that is? And what should we expect to see out of those guys, like in Denny's position, that are on that bubble? How hard will they race? How hard will they race?
Well, I mean, there's a point in which there is too far. So I think the best thing possible is, for myself, I run hard every lap, but there are certain times that you're able to focus just that little bit harder and be able to feel the tire that little bit more and know that whether you can push it more or not, and know if that's going to be better for you in the long run or not. So Denny just going to go out there, go full bore every single lap. He's going to get tired. This place here and 400 laps here and running as hard as you can 100% every single lap, I don't know that you can do that. There will be a time in which you have to settle in and run a pace. But, fortunately for us in the 18 team, we know that we just need a solid day here. And our solid days here at Dover are typically top 10s. It shouldn't be that hard for us to achieve that. So that's certainly going to lock us to the next round. For Denny and those guys, Denny obviously needs to run top 5, have an opportunity to win, and maybe see a little bit of bad luck from other people. And to be honest with you, I don't know everybody's scenario. I just try to keep track of what's closest to me. That's the 18, the 20, and the 11. So, just as far as everybody pushing for it, I think we all push for it. We all try to do what we can to win every single race. Maybe pitch strategy lays itself a little bit differently with some guys, but we'll see how all that goes.
Okay, we'll take our next question up front. Reed.
Reed Spencer, NASCAR Wire Service. You just answered part of my question, but with a 28-point lead over 13th place, do you feel pretty comfortable coming in and disqualifying on the front row help that?
Yeah, certainly. We feel plenty confident coming in here to have the opportunity to move on. I think a top 20 finish is plenty secure for us. And like I said, I mean, man, I can't remember the last time here that I've had a solid run and I wasn't in a top 10, so I foresee us being just fine and just having a good solid day here Sunday will take us into Kansas next week.
Okay, we'll take a question in the back from Jim.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. Kyle, could you just talk a little bit about what you and your team were able to accomplish last week and what it says about your team that you were able to salvage an 8th place finish and how that may speak about your team's ability going forward in these next couple rounds?
Yeah, I was really pumped up, really impressed with our guys and the effort and everything that we did there. A crazy situation that happened in front of me with Kenseth. He got sideways, and I thought he was going to be able to just gas through it. And, he didn't. He kept getting more crooked every time he gassed it up to try to go. So he finally just had to stop. And I thought I checked up in time, but I didn't. And then Casey got into me, none of his fault. But, kind of tore us both up pretty bad. But our guys, they worked on getting the thing somewhat put back together. And, it was battered pretty hard. But we did a good job on those final restarts and just trying to keep tires on the car as fresh as we could to know that those guys in front of us all had heat-soaked tires and cycled tires that, it should give us the opportunity to try to go by them. And, we had a groove out there that somehow nobody wanted to run in, that I found, and, we made our way past them all on the outside. So my guys were all pumped after the race. They were complaining this week that TV didn't do it justice. And, they were pretty impressed to be there and watch it themselves. And I got a lot of phone calls and texts and stuff like that from people that were able to see it. So it was a great day to salvage a day like that. But I do think it would have been more impressive in the old chase format rather than the new chase format. Obviously after tomorrow or Sunday, points are reset. They're done. It doesn't matter how your finish was at Loudon anymore. But it does give us a bit of a cushion, a bit of an easier time coming here to Dover and not having to have as much stress like our teammates, unfortunately, the 11 and the 20.
Final question, Lee.
What does it say about your team in particular? Because you guys haven't always been the best at facing adversity like that. And the fact that you're gelling now, I mean, the playoffs haven't always been the best for Kyle Busch, but I mean, when you have a team behind you and you're able to persevere like that and, what some would consider a Jimmy-style move, wouldn't you almost rather be under the radar on something like that and not have the competition really focus in on you?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have days like that. You definitely just want to kind of be a guy that's a top 10 guy, doesn't make a whole lot of noise. Sure, any day of the week I would choose that. But, you know, that's why I wrecked 5-6 weeks in a row leading up to the chase, was to give them plenty of opportunity to know how to fix it. And so they certainly knew what they were doing when we got to Loudon. So, you know, I give them plenty of props on that.
Kyle, thank you for your time this afternoon, and the best of luck on Sunday.